All right, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming at you from very sunny Duluth, Minnesota. There's a little washout here. Oh, hold on. Let me get the microphone closer. I'm going to push this all back, get this up here so we can do some conversating. You might hear my kid squawking in the background. He went down for a nap and he is not happy. So I hope everybody is doing well. We got one person in the stream already. So, hey, howdy ho. Craich, hey, how are you doing? I am doing great, man. Let me close this blind. It's too bright. Mr. Mean doesn't like all that bright light. That's why I wear dark glasses. So, because my future's so bright. I don't know how you say your name there. Normally your live session's passing me. I'm assuming you mean you don't get to catch them because I do them in the middle of the day because I'm unemployed. I'm a slacker, living off the government dole. Anyway, today's video du jour RPG is Tortured Earth. What can I say about Tortured Earth? Not a lot good. I'm sorry. Most of my reviews are very positive, and I find something useful in those games, and I like them. And but this one, I ran into it in 2015 at Comic-Con in Austin. I think it was Austin or Houston, Texas. I was working. I kind of was there to help my friend David Donahoe do the open gaming for the convention. He has a store called Etten Games, and he reached out to me and said, hey, I was local at the time. I lived in Beaumont, and he said, hey, would you come help us run games in the open gaming for the convention for Comic-Con? And I said, sure. And so I ran into these guys, Artis Dowdy and KB Kidder, and they wrote this game right here, Tortured Earth. I'm going to do this review a little differently. I'm going to go over the things I like. I like that it's an open world game. I like that they give you a basic, very basic premise, but they tell you, they come right out front and they say, set this in your hometown. Right now, the game starts and it's based out of North Carolina, small little town in North Carolina, which is where they're all from. And so they say you can run the little campaign that's in here, and they also have one printed adventure that you can buy. I don't know where you can buy this. The retail price was $49.99. It's hardback. It's not an amazing cover. It's not horrible. There's a blurb on the back, your ISBN information. You can pause the video once I post it and get all that stuff. I don't know if Amazon sells it. I didn't see it on there. That being said, I did not look. I did buy this copy. I purchased this with my hard-earned money back in 2015 when I worked at the convention. So this is not a sponsored review. They didn't give this to me for free. I paid my hard-earned money for this. And so what else do I like about it? I like the premise. I like the dice mechanics. They're very simple. If you've played any D20 games, whether it be Palladium books, Dungeons and Dragons, any of those D20 based games, 3.5, 3.0, 4th edition, mechanics are very similar. There's going to be a number that you're going to have to meet or exceed, and you succeed on whatever task you're trying to do. But they go into great depth to tell you to make this game your own. And I like that. That's good information. When you have a game like this, the Canadian Barbarian. Do I know any good fighting RPGs? The only good fighting RPG I know was, I believe it was we'll sidetrack from Tortured Earth here to answer the Canadian Barbarian. It was done by White Wolf years ago, and it was a riff on Street Fighter. They got the license to Street Fighter, and they were able to make it, and it used the storytelling system. So it was a D10 based game. I don't know. I can't find it in print. I had a copy and I can't find it. Oh, you own them all. Good. All right. Well, you're a lucky man. If you have a PDF and you want to send me a copy, please do. I haven't been able to find it. I remember playing it long ago, and that's it. Other than that, there is a WWE wrestling RPG. I believe it's D20 based. There is Luchadores. I believe it might be a Savage Worlds imprint, or it's its own mechanics. I don't know. I don't own it. So there's those two. Man, use your Google Foo and see what you can find. But that's the only ones that come to mind right now. And thanks for watching, man. Tortured Earth. What I like about it. I do like the advice they give in here for GMs and players. I like you're welcome, Canadian Barbarian. I like some of the references they make to this. They never come out and say it's a post-apocalyptic setting. It's kind of a setting that you can do. It's the Tortured Earth, so it's 40 years past the collapse. So when you make your characters, you shouldn't have the prejudices of your parents, remembering a time that was kind of thing. You're a product of the Tortured Earth. So therefore, you kind of like Fallout. Yeah, Canadian Barbarian. Very much like Fallout. Not as much tech running around, but again, this is a make it your own game. So if you want laser weapons and sun swords, you can have them. The thing is, hey, Bill. Bill is one of my proud members of Nerds International. Ashalaka Malay, my brother. The cool thing about this is it's the kitchen sink RPG. This is Savage Worlds. This is Rifts. This is any D20 mashup you want to make. You could totally do that. That's about all I like about the game. And that's sad to say. I never thought I'd say that. Even Providence, which if you haven't seen that video and you want to talk about a really bad RPG, go back in the vault and look at Providence, the RPG done by Zid Creation or Zid Studios or Zid Creations, one of the two. Anyway, that was one of my most negative reviews. And I drop everything because this is high quality production video here. I do it on YouTube Live. This is kind of a shout out to Bill there and all my nerds brothers. It's just easier to do YouTube Live instead of the post-production and the editing and everything. And then it takes 30 minutes to an hour to upstream it to YouTube. This is just way easier. So unfortunately, I don't get to add the Nerds International video. I should wear my t-shirt or have it hanging in the back. I'm still living out of boxes. So we just moved into this house this week. And as you can see, my game collection, there's still 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's about 15 to 17 more moving boxes of books that still need to be shelved, and I don't have a way to shelf them because that's my shelving space right there. So I've got to get a bookshelf or something. So anyway, Tortured Earth. Like I said, I did have the pleasure of running into these guys at Comic-Con or Austin Comic-Con. I don't remember what it was. 2015 though. I remember that. And super nice guys. They talked a great game. They sold me on the game. I mean, these guys should be used car salesmen because they were solid. And I'm pretty grumpy. There's a reason I have the nickname of Mr. Mean. It's not easy to sell me on something, but they sold me on it. And so I went to the booth and I bought the book. And, am I glad it's in my collection? Yeah, I'm glad because I can point this out and tell you everybody how not to make a game because this is a prime example right here. So it's a D20 to complete task. It uses a full dice set. So if you like that, this is definitely a good game for that aspect. You're going to use everything from D4 up to a D20. It's copyright 2015. It has a full index. I will admit it has a very good index. No table of context. Huge pet peeve. Strike number 1. You need a table of context. There's none. Or contents. Sorry. I said context. I'm bad. This is a classless, level RPG, meaning there's no levels, there's no class, so you're not a barbarian, even if you were Canadian or not. There's no fighters, there's no warriors, there's no magic users, there's no psionicist. You are you, or whatever fictional. There we go, fictional. whatever fictional character you decide to make. It's a skill-based system, so kind of like Call of Cthulhu, um, Mutants and Masterminds, uh, even Rifts kind of is a skill-based system. Palladium Fantasies, another great skill-based system. So you say, Mr. Mean, well, how do I level up? How do I get better? If I'm all about skills, how do I get better? Well, here's the thing. The GM will set up an adventure, and the GM will decide how much experience you're going to earn for that adventure, depending on the things that you encounter and the things that you do. So using a bunch of skills, you want to try and do things that you want to be good at, obviously, and you want a decent chance of success. By the way, in order to make a skill test, you will take whatever your skill is, and of course, in this case, you're a 0 level character, so that's the wrong front. You're a zero skill level, and so it's going to be whatever the core attribute that skill is based off of. And then you'll add that number. So whatever your base attribute is, you'll add that number to whatever you roll on a D20, trying to meet or exceed the target number that the GM has set. That target number will be preset if you're fighting an NPC or another character or something like that. You'll have their number. So they'll roll a D20 and add whatever their attribute is, and that's the number you're trying to meet or exceed. The attributes are physical might, physical agility, physical endurance, perceptive comprehension, intelligent quotient, willpower, and presence. So 7 attributes, pretty standard, different names, but they all pretty much do the same thing that you think they would do. And then, of course, like I said, you'll add your base and all that fun stuff to it, and you'll add that to a D20, and that's how you succeed or fail. If you have skill levels, you will add those in as well. And then, of course, as you gain experience, you will get better and better. So what happens? The GM sets an experience total for the adventure. Well, the way to improve stats, your 7 core attributes, is every 25 experience points that you earn, you are allowed to increase one of your attributes. Now, there are preset. There's like the baseline human. There's some aliens in here. There's some critters, whatever, that you can play as player characters. Because remember, it's 40 years in the future, in the not too distant future. But there's aliens, there's grays, that kind of thing. Because again, kitchen sink kind of game. So think Fallout, Fallout's actually a very good analogy because there are, aliens in Fallout, but it's basically human beings. So then the next step, you get those every 25 experience points, you get to raise an attribute 1 point. Only one attribute for 1 point. But every 25 experience points that you earn, you can do that. So let's say you play a session and you earn 100 experience points. You can raise 4 different attributes. I believe if I inferred correctly from the reading, you can't raise the same attribute each session. So I say I got 4 points. I can't dump it into my physical might 4 times. You got to spread it out. So it kind of gradually bumps you up. The GM is also encouraged and allowed to automatically increase any of your stats. So if you do something that's super cool and it's awesome, and the GM feels, wow, you probably learned something from that, or that's the pinnacle. Obviously, boom, he can give you a point right then and there, or after the game session. The game is very freeform in the GM/player interaction. I do like that about it. There's a decent amount of rules, but they don't bog you down. I'm not saying they're good rules. I'm not saying they're bad rules. They're not rules for me. I don't like the way the game system works. That's just me. That's my same problem with D&D. I don't like that very little variation, and as you go in levels and blah blah blah. Not my cup of tea. So we've got a skill-based system with magic and psionics. So you can be anything you want. You want to be a sword-wielding psionicist, or a gunslinger psionicist, or a gunslinger mage. You can be. There is nothing in here that says you can't do X, Y, Z. You can do it. So that's kind of basically the mechanics. Let's look at some other stuff. The cover. It's fugly. I'm sorry. I dig the logo. I like the half moon circle with the sword in it and the little scarab. Does nothing to tell me what this game is about. Nothing. So, and that's a prevalent logo throughout the book, which is fine. It's great. That's an awesome thing. But doesn't tell me anything about the game. So yeah, I mean, and that's purely aesthetic. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean does it? The Canadian Barbarian wants to know, does it stay balanced? I don't know, Canadian, because I haven't played it, because I have no desire to play this game whatsoever. This is just a basic review for you to make an informed decision on whether or not you want to play it, or if it would be right for your group. Your group may love it. I would say, though, in an honest opinion, I would say yes, it does stay balanced, because looking at the stat blocks for the monsters and stuff, you as the GM can say, okay, well, my players, they've got 1,500 experience points. That's a crap load of attributes and skill bonuses that they've achieved at this time. So I'm going to bump this zombie up a couple levels to make it more of a challenge, while the regular zombies are just going to be chubs. This guy's going to be uber tough, So yeah, I would say it does kind of stay balanced. Is it easy? I don't know. I can't attest to that, because I haven't run the game and I didn't get to play it. Every time I tried to get into a session, they never had enough people to actually run the game, which to me is another bad sign. If you're trying to pimp a game, whether you've got 10 people want to run up and play it or you got one, you should run a demo. When I go to conventions, I've only done it once and I felt really bad about not. There's 2 kids that came up and they wanted to play a game, and I turned them away. And man, it ate me up for the whole convention, because I think you're there. If the company's paying you to run demos, then run demos. If it's one person, what the hell? Run it for one person. Doesn't matter. But anyway, so that's my first pet peeve, the cover. It's ugly. I wouldn't even say it's ugly. It's just unfunctional, non-functioning. Let's see, and there's the logo again. My second pet peeve, if anybody who's watched a couple of my videos will know, this is a huge pet peeve for me. Quality of art, consistency of art. Art in this game sucks. It is a mismatch of pencil drawings, photoshopped pictures, and just, I don't know, random. I mean, what is that? It's garbage. I mean, I know you're trying to say it's a post-apocalyptic setting, but this doesn't do anything for me. And then from the art, takes me to the layout. This book is horrendously laid out. Half of the book is in full color. Pages are like this, which not necessarily so bad. We got a nice little, sunset there. But look at these. I mean, the whole book is like this. It's all of these tables. This was done with Excel and looks like it was imported. It looks like they did Excel with a background on the full sheet of paper, and then they created text boxes with word wrap, and then they exported it to PDF. It's I don't know who their layout person was, but you should fire them. This is the worst example I've ever seen of a game, and it doesn't even tell you who. Thanks to all the playtesters, they give a whole list of playtesters. Art. I'm not going to mention their names. You can get the book yourself. There's a whole bunch of people that did the art. I don't see anybody who's accredited with doing the layout. Now, what I will say is kudos. If they did this all themselves and they did the layout themselves, good for them. That's a lot of hard work. And if you watched my interview with Indy, we talk a little bit about layout and how difficult it is. So that's why professional layout artists and editors make decent money, because it's a hard job. And it's proof that these guys didn't use one. There's tons of typos in here. There's tons of spelling errors and grammatical errors throughout the whole book. And then, like I said, the first quarter of the book where they list all the skills is all done like this. And it's just horrendous on your eyes. And I mean, how made it? I don't know what you're trying to say there, Canadian Barbarian. I'm assuming that English is not your first language. And being that you're Canadian, I'm assuming French is probably your native language. I unfortunately do not speak French, but I don't know how made it. Who made it, you mean? They self-published this. There's no publishing house behind this. I didn't see it on Amazon. Doesn't mean it didn't exist. To be honest, I didn't look because I didn't care. Yeah, he says, yeah. Yeah, they published it themselves. They did not go through a publishing house. And in all fairness, 2015 was a bad year. There's a new company in the block called Modifius, and I've done a review of Conan and of Star Trek and of one of my favorite game settings, Mutant Chronicles. and they Modifius is behind those, but they also are now a publishing house. They've gotten, it's great because this guy's Chris Birch started in his garage, basically. I think he's in England. Started from his garage, and now he's got a huge monster of a game company, and he's selling Coriolis, he's selling Mutant Year Zero. I mean, of course, all of his product line. So there's no excuse for books like this to exist in this day and age. Now, granted, in 2015, Modifius was a small fish in a big pond. So self-publicating a book like this is major kudos. I will give that to artists and KB. Kudos for, putting your balls on the barbed wire and putting a book out there. It's unfortunate that you didn't have some other friends who weren't fanboys to look at this objectively and say, this is shite, because it's horrible. This book it's almost unreadable. It's that bad. The art is atrocious. The last half of the book, they decided to change up with the generic pictures that they got off of Free Domain, and they decided to use some pencil writing, and I don't know if this will come through on the camera, but you can see the background there. It looks like someone took some pencils and just wrote on the background, but they did the same thing. They took their Excel spreadsheets and their Word boxes, they exported it to a PDF, and then they sent it to a printer. Now, again, that's 3/4 of the book. The other quarter of the book is this horrendous background. Can you imagine trying to read, what is this, 300 pages? Let's see here. Let's get an actual page count. There is a character sheet. Like I said, there is a pretty comprehensive index. So not including the character sheet in the index, we are looking at 364 pages. So slogging through this, this is painful. Is it a bad game? Only you can be that judge. Is it a bad game for me? Hell yes. This is worse than Providence. At least Providence I can run. This I can't run because I can't stand to look at it for more than 10 minutes. That's my honest opinion, guys. If they did a 2.0, I'd be more than happy to give it a new review. Hopefully they made enough money off of this book to hire a layout artist and an editor and get the book done right, because this is crap. It does have some shining bits in it. The skill system, I think, is pretty cool. But if I'm going to struggle to run this, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to pick up this and I'm going to run this. It's 10 times easier. It's well laid out. It's readable. And the art is good. So why run this when you can do this exact same setting in this? These games they're identical in their form and function. This is just the better done game. This is not. Let me see. Canadian Barbarian says, you are one of my favorite DM to watch on YouTube. Thank you for the good review. Hey, man, thank you for watching. I appreciate the questions. The binding on the book, it's very well put together. Whoever they used for their production of the physical book did a good job. I mean, I've had the book for 2 years. I've flipped through it several times. It's saddle stitched and glued, and it's not coming apart. It's it's decent card. It's high gloss paper, as you could see from the images. The paper is relatively thick. I mean, the book will stand up to some damage. It'll work. Savage Works it like D20. No, Savage Worlds is his own game mechanic. If you go back in my reviews, I've done a couple reviews of Savage Worlds on different games and settings. There's a lot of what they call one sheets you can download off of pinnacle.com, and the mechanics are super easy. It's usually you're going to roll whatever your attribute is, and a D6, which is if you're a player character, you're a wild card, and you'll add that whatever the highest number is. The highest number on any die explodes, yada yada yada. But that's the D20 system. So go back and check out some of those reviews, Canadian Barbarian. See if those answer your questions. You can always email me at jpolak@gmail.com or through YouTube here, and I can answer further questions for you. So that's kind of what I got there for Tortured Earth. It's not a buy. I should wait. Let me retract that. It's a buy if you want to see how not to produce a game. It's a buy if you want to see what terrible production quality looks like, it's a buy. If you want an open world system that you want to steal ideas from, it's a buy. It does a good job of giving you a feeling for the setting, that 40 years into the future where everything's dystopian and people are just trying to get by, and you can throw magic and psionics and aliens in there and monsters because we assume it's radiation or something that made all the things mutate. Of course, in 40 years for things to mutate, it's a little far-fetched, but then again, it's a role-playing game. You can say whatever. So if you want to try a different game and you see it at the bargain bin, sure, pick it up. Might be worth it. You might enjoy it. I can tell you, me personally, spending $54, because after you add tax, $54 of my hard-earned money in 2015. I was not pleased when I got home and I read this and I started realizing this is a crap game to me. Remember, these are my opinions. You may buy the game and go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I love this game. Mr. Mean, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And that's fine. Opinions are like assholes. We all have one. So neither one is right or wrong. But for me, this game is crap. There's no good art in it. There's no, the layout of the book makes it atrocious to read. The character sheet is bland. I mean, and on top of that, I also noticed doing just a basic Google search, couldn't find anything new about it. So I think the game may be it may be dead, maybe a dead game, which, happens. There's a lot of games that have come and gone in the greater spectrum of things. This is your character sheet. I mean, that is beyond boring. And I'm sure there may be a better one out there that somebody's put out, but I haven't seen one. I haven't looked either. So for whatever that's worth. So my opinion would be, don't waste your money on Tortured Earth. Just buy Savage Worlds. Buy Palladium Rifts. Run it a little less gonzo. Buy Savage Worlds Rifts and pair it with your favorite apocalyptic game, and you're good to go. Tales from the Loop is another good one. That would probably, if you want to run that kind of game, it's a kind of a different system. Mutant Year Zero is a great 2D or D6 based game with specific dice. You don't need to buy those dice, but you can be mutants, and it's kind of that same kind of setting. A little more far in the future. I do have that book coming. There's also going to be an upcoming future review of City of Mist. I just ordered it. I actually have the PDF, but I don't like doing reviews of PDFs. I like to get the physical book. So anyway, that's Mr. Mean's take on Tortured Earth. And like I said, not a buy. Your mileage may vary. And if you get it and you enjoy it, please let me know. Put in the notes down there. But as usual, as always, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Helps out the channel. Keeps me doing these videos. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Canadian Barbarian, thanks for watching. Everybody, I don't know who else. Larry Hott. Larry says, well, this seems awful. Bill's waving bye. Bye, Bill. We need to get online and game sometime, brother. I need a gaming fix. Even though I'm in Duluth here and there's 3 game stores within reach of me, I haven't found a decent game group. The only thing everybody wants to play is D&D, and I'm not a D&D fan. So Bill, we'll have to hook something up, brother. Larry, yeah, it is awful, dude. Like I said, if you see it in a discount bin, maybe pick it up add it to your collection, or like I said, to see how not to make a game. There's a couple YouTube videos out there. I wish I would have saved it. I didn't. But just do a YouTube search for Tortured Earth, and you'll see one guy talking about it. And the guy has no enthusiasm about talking about his own game. And it's like, there's just, I'm showing more enthusiasm about how bad the game is than that guy's talking about how good it is. That's pretty painful. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time on this Saturday morning. As always, peace and hair grease. And remember, be nice. We're going to end the stream now. Later.